Materials Magic. Mystery number 1. Our learning target for today's lesson is I will explore the different properties of materials used in clothing, such as texture, flexibility, and absorbance. Our success criteria for today's lesson is I can design and build a hat that protects me from the sun. Key vocabulary: texture, how something feels when touched. That looks very rough. Flexibility, the ability to easily bend without breaking, such as your workout clothes or your yoga clothes. Absorbance, ability to soak up liquid or moisture, such as a sponge soaks up water or moisture. Today, I would like you to either download this, and how you would do that is you would click right here, and then you go to your download bar and you would click on it once it pops up. And then you will work through this worksheet at the end of this lesson. So have it ready. You'll also need your See Think Wonder chart. And I want you to click right here and work your way through this lesson with me. With your learning coach, I want you to discuss, why do people wear clothing and how many reasons can you come up with? Think as many as you can. Why do people wear clothing? Pause the video as you go along and as you need to.
So why do we wear clothes? You probably were able to think of a few different reasons. Many of those reasons have to do with the weather. Depending on if it's cold or rainy or hot, or if there's bugs or mosquitoes around, notice that your clothes need to be made out of different stuff. They need to be made out of different materials. Not all materials are good for the same thing. That's because each material has certain traits or properties that makes it useful. For example, in the rain, you wear a raincoat, right? Well, a raincoat is made out of a plastic material, which has the property of being waterproof, meaning that water can't get through it. That's why it's such a good material to wear in the rain. But in really cold weather, you might wear a thick coat like this, which is lined with a material called wool. Wool has the property of being heat trapping. It keeps in the heat. Now, let me show you something surprising. This guy lives in the hot desert, and yet he's wearing a long robe. Why on earth would someone wear this in the hot desert? Well, it has to do with the properties of this material that he's wearing. This robe is made out of the material called cotton. It comes from a plant and it looks just like this. Cotton is actually the most popular material for all clothing, whether you live in the desert or not. Let's explore some of its properties. Here's one reason this guy is wearing it. Cotton blocks sunlight. See that? We call this the property of being opaque, which means it doesn't let light through. And that's what keeps this guy from getting sunburned. So that's partly why someone would wear a cotton robe in the desert. Now think about what else happens when you're in the sun. You sweat, right? Especially if you're walking around or working. Sweat can feel really sticky and uncomfortable. To be comfortable, you'd like clothes that will soak up that sweat. Well, cotton is really good at just that. It can soak up that sweat. We say that cotton has the property of being absorbent, meaning it soaks up wetness. Soft is another property we want our clothing to have, since we have to wear it all day. Cotton definitely has the property of being soft. It's nice and soft. In fact, because cotton is so soft, that's probably why the clothing you're wearing right now, so cotton has properties that make it very comfortable. But now, just for fun, think of a situation where feeling comfortable isn't what you want. For example, a situation where you might wear a suit of armor. Definitely not comfortable to wear, right? It's made out of steel, a type of metal. Steel is the same material that your kitchen pots and pans are made of. What properties does steel have? In what situation would you want to wear something like this?
What properties does this piece of clothing have? Is it light or heavy, hard or soft, stretchy or stiff? Anything else? When is it a good idea to wear this? Or why? Talk with your learning coach about it. What properties does this piece of cloth have? Light or heavy, hard or soft, stretchy or stiff? When is it a good idea to wear this and why? Talk with your learning coach. Pause the video.
So you're stuck on this desert island without any clothes except for your swimsuit. And you're going to have to figure out where you're going to sleep tonight and what you'll eat for food this week and where to get drinking water. But right now, what's most on your mind is the sun. The sun is beating down on you. It's so hot. As you stand there on the beach, the only thing you can think about is how much you want a hat. So what you're going to need to make as your first piece of clothing is a hat to shade your head. Now, up till now, you might have just thought of a hat as something fun to wear. But hats can be extremely useful. Like, consider this kind of hat you might have at home if you skateboard or ride a bike. It's a helmet. A helmet is a hat made of a special, thick kind of plastic. This material has properties that are like steel. It's got the property of being hard and strong. But unlike steel, this plastic material also has the property of being light, which makes it much more comfortable. Since a helmet isn't going to do you any good on a desert island, though, let's consider some hats that might be useful to you. Like, what about a cowboy hat? You've probably all seen a cowboy hat before, but unless you live on a ranch or out in the desert, you might not have thought about just how useful cowboy hats are. Notice how most of this cowboy's face is covered in a shadow? A cowboy hat is great for shading your face when you're in the hot sun. That shadow is made by the hat's large brim. That's this part of the hat. To stick out like this, the brim has to have the property of being stiff. Without that property, the hat's brim would flop down into the cowboy's eyes. And cowboy hats aren't the only good hats to protect you from the sun. Like, check out this one. This hat's called a bonnet, and it was worn by pioneer women. It has a stiff brim too to keep off the sun, just like the cowboy hat. But unlike the cowboy hat, it also has the property of being nice and soft, so it was very comfortable to wear. Okay, here's one last example. This is a traditional hat to wear in the desert. This hat is very soft too, but this one doesn't have a stiff brim. It's just loose cloth tied around the head. It may not block the sun from his face very well, but it definitely blocks the sun on his neck. Along with being soft, this hat has the property of being absorbent, so it's great at soaking up sweat. So those are some different hats made of materials with different properties. But now it's your turn. You're going to design a hat for yourself to wear on your desert island. What kind of hat will you need? What properties do you think your hat needs to have?
Discuss with your learning coach. Go find a hat in your house and look at that hat. How is it made? What kind of materials is your hat made out of?
In today's activity, you're going to make a hat to keep you cool on a desert island. First, let's talk about the problem you have to solve. What does your hat need to do? To get an idea of what a hat should do, let's take another look at some hats made for hot weather. Each of these hats has a stiff brim that shades you, and each one has a part that goes over your head. Seems like it'd be nice if that part was soft and soaked up sweat so that you stayed dry. So you're going to make a hat, but what materials are you going to use? You're on a desert island after all. All you have to work with are these lunch supplies from the boat, from when a lunchbox washed up on the beach. You'll look at each thing and decide whether it will be useful in making a hat. Rather than thinking about what the thing is, I want you to think about the material it's made of. Like, don't think of this paper plate as something you eat off of, or this paper bag as something to carry stuff in. Just think about how these materials can help you to shade your head. Are you ready to get started? You will work with a partner to test the properties of the materials you have. Then, Each of you will make a hat, helping each other out as you work. In the end, the most successful hat will be the one that does the best job of blocking the sun. Okay, now I'll walk you through the activity step by step. Get these starting supplies. You'll get more supplies later. When you're done with this step, press the arrow on the right.
Pause the video if you need more time to look at your supplies. Aluminum foil, paper plate, paper towel, and paper bag, and your worksheet, and a pencil or a pen. Go get those supplies and come back.
Softness test. Rub each material. Answer question 1 on the worksheet. You do this test to decide which materials feel soft enough to go on your head. Get these supplies for the next step.
A cup of water and a spoon.
Sweat soaker test. Use the spoon to drip water on each material. Answer question 2. You do this test because the part of the hat that goes on your head needs to be able to soak up sweat. Stiffness test. Hold each material like this to see if it droops down or stands stiff. Answer question 3. You do this test because your hat's brim needs to be stiff so that it doesn't flop into your eyes.
Try this test with each material.
Take a minute to discuss.
Or you can pause the video.
Get the final supplies. These will help you put your hat together.
Get some string and some clips, maybe some glue or tape.
Make a hat that shades you from the sun. Share ideas and help your classmates. You don't have to use every material. If you're really stuck, ask your teacher for an inspiration sheet.
So work with your learning coach to make a hat. There were some examples in this video.
Your teacher will ask for volunteers to show off their hat and talk about its materials. Each person will answer these questions. What materials did you use? What properties of those materials were helpful?
So have the hat ready by a homeroom session or our next class session so that we can discuss the properties of the materials you used. You can wear your hat in class next time. Discuss. Look at the wonder column of your class See, Think, and Wonder chart. Have any questions been answered by the past lesson? In the past lesson, you did a stiffness test. Materials that are stiff are called rigid. Materials that are not stiff are called flexible. Discuss which of your hat materials were flexible, which were rigid. This person is wearing a special hat. Discuss. Do you think it is rigid or flexible? This hat is called a hard hat. It is rigid. Discuss how does a rigid hard hat keep this person safe? The clothes this person is wearing have to be flexible. Discuss why do the clothes have to be flexible. Hint, this person has to be able to move while they work. The last thing is the face shield. It is rigid, but not as rigid as a hard hat. It stops things like sparks from hitting the person's eyes and face. Face shield, sparks. Discuss. Where does the worker wear flexible things? Where do they wear rigid things? Why do you think he does that or she does that? Get your copy of your Beat the Heat worksheet and add to it. Add the word rigid where the person is wearing something rigid, and the word flexible where the person is wearing something flexible. Save this paper. You can put it in a bulletin board. Oh, we can put it in the quiz that we're going to put it in. Here's your vocabulary. Materials. What something is made of, like metal, wood, or plastic. Metal. A natural material that is often shiny and you cannot see through it. Weather. What the air is like at the particular time and place. Waterproof. Does not absorb water. Absorb. To soak up liquid like a sponge does. Opaque. You cannot see through it, such as the walls of the building. Opaque is the black umbrella. See-through is the clear umbrella. Stiff, cannot bend easily. Cardboard is pretty stiff. Soft, squishy or smooth, not hard or rough. Soft, like cloth, like cotton. Property, something you can observe about an object or a material. Stiff, the brim of the hat is stiff. Strong, the helmet is strong. And soft, cotton is soft. Design, to make a plan for creating or doing something. Engineer, a person who uses science to come up with solutions to the problem. Happy learning, everybody.